So
Yeah.
it was a symbol of unity. And another attraction is Isfahan. They call it Isfahan is half of the world. Why? Because it was for 700 years approximately the capital of Iran.
Yeah.
And you can see Islamic architectures, not from just Iran, they have gathered from other countries to coming and to make it these architectures there. And it is very famous after Tehran and Mashhad. And, you know, uh, the point is that if you go to the Isfahan,
Mm-hmm.
in Maidan and Naqsh Jahan, Maidan is Medan, the same in
Yeah.
the Maidan, Medan, Naqsh Jahan. So it's the biggest square in the world.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's very interesting. And also nowadays Isfahan is not just because of this attractive tourism, but it's the place of production of steel,
Mm-hmm.
military airplanes, and also carpet that you were mentioning, we have had it in Isfahan. So we will invite you and the committee after COVID-19 to surely you must visit Isfahan and to enjoy that, sceneries and also a lot of
Yeah.
kacamata, tandamata, you can
Yeah.
and
I'd like to do that. I'd like to visit your country.
you can, yeah.
Okay. Now we are going to talk about science and technology in Iran. Can you please share about this? Because IABI, we are from science and technology background. So can you please tell us about the development of science and technology?
For science and technology, I have to refer to some statistics that
Mhm.
after 41 years of establishment of the Islamic Republic of Iran, even though we have had up and down and hambatan dan sebagainya, but
Yeah.
we tried to, the point that we were emphasized was young people and
Yeah.
also IT. Because
Mhm.
of that, we are in the progress and in the rank, which is very famous in nanotechnology. We are in rank 4.
Oh.
In stem cell, it is second.
Mm.
Maybe you are surprised, but
Yeah.
that's the point that based on the HDI index, I mean Human Development Index of United Nations, they were
Uh-huh.
mentioning that from 1980 up to 2016,
Mhm.
of the highest rate of development of human resources was done in Iran. So
Oh.
try to make it a kind of strong energy in our society. And of course, in the Middle East, you can see in the level of production of articles based on ISI,
Yeah.
rank of Iran is first. And in the world rank is 16.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the point is, as I said, we have pay attention to use R&Ds in government and the private sections, and also to have a kind of dependency on the tenaga yang ada di dalam masyarakat Iran.
Yeah.
Jadi kita mandiri dan insya Allah berkembang.
Okay. Related to science and technology is internet. The internet in Iran is managed by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran and the Supreme Council of Cyberspace of Iran. Is it true, Ambassador?
No, sorry.
Okay.
The point
So
is
can you
that,
please tell us what is really happening?
yeah, the point is that uh, it is handling the kind of internet, let's say digital era, which is very important, is handling by the National Virtual Space Center of Iran. You know,
Oh.
because of the importance of internet, it was instructed by the supreme leader of Iran to have this committee, this center, and you know, the head of the center is president, and also there is a secretary of that, and so we have tried to have our national internet networking, and we hope up to 5 years ahead we will complete such a this national internet networks that in Iran we say clean national networks. So we have tried it, and 80% of the networking we have done it, but we need for the other points, and maybe if I give you some statistics about the internet in Iran, it's useful.
Okay, and I heard that in 2013, you banned 500 visited websites worldwide. You blocked the websites including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Blogger, etc. And how about if it is true, how about the current situation in Iran regarding this?
It looks like it is vice versa, that we see because of the new uprising or demonstrations in Western countries, you know, they are going to stop such a this networking. Even though where is the center of this networking? It's in these countries or in the West countries. So, you know, out of 80 million people in Iran, 79 million people have internet connection.
Yeah.
Let's say the penetration is 94%. So in mobile, you know, it's approximately 69 million people and 10 million in fixed internet. The point is that why we are going to have our national one. Surely you have heard about the Stuxnet, which was handling by certain countries, and they have attacked Iranian nuclear activities, I mean installation, facilities. So, and also we can see in, there was utterances of Hillary Clinton, that during the demo in Iran, she said that Twitter must be alive and everybody must enjoy. So it looks like that there was something big question.
Yeah.
So because of that, we are going to have our national networking to have, you know, the head of this center say we are not going to filter it. We are going to manage it.
Okay.
You know, in Iranian, in Chinese model, they are making their copies. In Europeans, they are going to make regulations.
Yeah.
In Iran, we are going to copy and regulate. I mean, to regulate. So it means that the equipments, the facilities must be Iranian, and also to have regulation for that. I remember it was mentioning by Mr. Kissinger in his book, World Order 2014, he was mentioning that with the click of one keyboard, you can have a lot of information. He said it is information pollution. He said that we have to have regulation for that. Because it looks like that, you know, I don't go to the details, but at least for the usage of these networks to make a big change in the other societies, which is not there. It is a kind of what do you call it, interference of the domestic affairs of the country. So
Okay.
we have to have, inshallah, the same in Indonesia, your national network.
Okay. Now we are talking about the relations between Indonesia and Iran. We know that government-to-government relations, so far it is good, but we need to increase business-to-business and people-to-people relations. What do you think we can do to increase the quality or the quantity of people-to-people and business-to-business relations?
Yes, you have a good proverb in Indonesia or saying that tak kenal maka tak sayang.
Yeah.
Di Malaysia dikatakan tak kenal tak cinta. The point is that as I see during this 30, more than 34 years that of relation between Iran and Indonesia at the G2G level is very good. If it's a question of centuries, I said one of the evidence is Madame Grace.
Mhm.
Grace Shahbandar. Shahbandar is very old name that you are using now, but in Iran, in literature book, we use it, Shahbandar. For example, Pahlawan is his hero. Pahlawan Sahatan nowadays, Shahid of the COVID-19, you know.
Yeah.
It looks like that in different levels, it was not, because the diplomatic relation was 1950. Then we continued 70 years, and this year, 2020, is the 70th anniversary of the diplomatic relation. It's G2G level, and we are satisfied, and the level of economic statistics is good, but of course not very satisfactory. But the point is about the people to people. I can refer to the historical relation that we have it.
Yeah.
I have found out in my book of more than 400 vocabularies that I said Jah Bandar, Bandar, Pahlawan, you know, Gandom, Badam. 3 days ago, I found out Tajir. Tajir is a Persian word, means a Persian man. It's sort of, yeah. You know, in the field of economy, we have a lot of words. It looks like that the people-to-people connection. You know, Nakhoda with his kapal coming to Indonesia, going to China. So in this way, they have exchanged the vocabularies, culture, commodities like gandom, badam, angur, kismis, you know, it's all pure Persian words. It shows that we have a good and centuries of relation between Iran and Indonesia. Nowadays, we have to increase it, you know, in different areas. We say that in the COVID-19 era, we have to work hard on virtual one. Nowadays, in digital era, we have a theory of the true space world true space theory, that it refers to that we have to live simultaneously virtual and real one. So we have tried to these webinars and, you know, virtual one to connect and to have our several times we have had the film festival of Iran here and Indonesia in Iran. The big one was by your former ambassador Dian Virenjurit, you know, in the biggest hall in Tehran. I was there. You know, we have had a big delegation from Indonesia, different dancers, and also it was dancers from Aceh. You know, with, you know, that they are putting, you know, such a this thing is a kind of culture of Iran that, you know, it has come to such a this dancing and also different ceremonies you can see. So we are trying to have kind of webinars and virtual film festival. Even though in tourism, we have some of our Iranian tourism companies in Bali. So we are going to increase such as these activities, at least at the virtual one. And when it is based on the corridors that Madam Masoudi is going to have it, it is the question of Saudagas coming and also tourists coming with the protocols, health protocols. We are trying to have it, and also to have, you know, different webinars about the common cultures between Iran and Indonesia, and to send reporters to Iran. And your embassy before COVID-19 was very active, and several Iranian reporters coming to Indonesia and written very good pictures of Indonesia, and also from this side there was a group. So it shows that through the official one and unofficial PPP, we can, inshallah, increase the interaction of peoples. You know, the history, as I see, is the history of interactions of people. You know, maybe a lot of people do not know about this common words that we have between Iran and Indonesia. But when we say about that, you know, we are surprised.
Baik, kita sudah sekitar 40 sampai 50 menit bercakap-cakap dengan Bapak Duta Besar. Saya memberi kesempatan untuk tanggapan atau comments dari pihak IABIE, dan kemudian kalau ada dari participants yang ingin bertanya, silakan, saya akan berikan waktu. Mr. Ambassador, now we are going to give the opportunities for the participants to give comments or questions to you. Yang pertama adalah saya beri kesempatan kepada Bapak Irwan Prasetyo, Wakil Ketua Umum IABIE.
Okay, the next me.
Assalamualaikum.
Okay, thank you for the time, Grace. Your Excellency, Ambassador, nice to meet you. So my name is Erwan. So actually, I would like to find out, learn more from you how Iran can survive such a heavy sanction imposed by the US government, and probably that's really, you know, interesting that we can learn from you. You know, how when a country is hit by such a heavy sanctions, is there anything you think Indonesia should build as our, you know, self-defense, probably just against any probable future, something like that? That's probably just a little question from me.
Yes, please, Mr. Ambassador, you can
comment. And the question of sanctions is, you know, long history in Iran, 41 years. You know, there was a new voice from the Islamic Republic of Iran, from Middle East, and we have every year's, you know, election in Iran. People decide about their political system. But there is somebody, it looks like that they do not like it. So because of different reasons, they are going to have sanctions. By the way, the point is that at the peak of that sanctions, you know, during Obama administration, we have had it because they said that the sanction is not really working. So we are going to negotiate with Iran. From the early days, we were ready to, you know, to settle the points in the region. By the way, we have got the JCPOA, a nuclear deal based on the win-win solution, and you know, we were supposed to have the commitments of the American governments, but when it changed, you know, everything changed, and they said that you know, you're making nuclear bomb and other things, but you know, it was settled, and when it was going to have the fruit of JCPOA, you know, arms embargo, normal relations, I mean, in trade and economy, and other fruits, you know, out of this JCPOA, all of a sudden they came out and they didn't let us to have it. Of course, this kind of unilateralism was very strongly responded by the Security Council, that I remember during the leadership of Indonesia, you know, Indonesia was supporting and sending letters 2 times, you know, you were sending letters. It was just America and one of the countries, just 2, that were against, but the 13, I mean, were pro Iran, and it shows that, you know, multilateralism will win against unilateralism. Iran as a rational actor in Middle East, you know, we were mentioning that, you know, we must settle everything based on win-win solution. We must respect each other's. Otherwise, you know, we have made our system, Republic Islam Iran. Jadi tidak bisa dengan sembarangan apa namanya surrender us.
Iya. Oke.
One questions.
Yang kedua, sebentar, kita sudah ada listnya, jadi nanti akan dikasih apa kesempatannya ya, biar nggak rebutan gitu. Yang kedua itu adalah kepada Bapak Bagus Prihastono, Wakil Sekjen IABIE.
Baik, terima kasih Ibu Grace. Assalamualaikum Dr. Azad. My name is Bagus. It is it's a pleasure to have a chance to meet you online, and maybe there are 2 questions. The first one is since Pak Irwan already mentioned about the lifting of the embargo. When I was in Vienna last time, we almost make together with the Iranian delegations to start up a refinery joint cooperations with Iran. And at that time, maybe Mr. Ardebili, and I think the Minister of Iran was Dr. Bijan Sangedeh. I think he is still now the Minister of Oil and Gas in Iran. And with this lifting, I think it is open to have new cooperations with Indonesia. Then second one is about what do people watch in Iran? What kind of TV they watch in Iran? Is it a BBC, CNN, Euro, or Asia, HBO? Because I have seen one very useful BBC show, which is showing how Isfahan, how beautiful is Isfahan, how is the life in Iran. Is very useful. I haven't got the chance to visit that your country. So maybe a joint TV show will be very much helpful to speed up the cultural exchange. Thank you very much for the time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good question.
So to answer Mr. Babu's 2 questions, I can refer to the first one, that, you know, from the Iranian side, we are ready to have the big projects, as you were mentioning, that we have had very negotiations about that. And, you know, it was during the official visit or state visit of President Khoush, 2016 to Iran. You know, we were discussing about the big projects, and before that, President Rouhani was here in Indonesia, so we are completely ready to have cooperation in this regard. And also for SMEs, I mean small and medium enterprises, corporations, we are also ready. And so I hope we can expedite such as these cooperations that, especially in this case, it is a good opportunity, especially in COVID-19 atmosphere that we are. President Rouhani was talking with President Jokowi, and we tried to share what we have done it, even though on the section we have done some medicines, some media, and some innovations in ITs, because we have more than 4,500 IT companies, so startups. So we tried that what we can have understood and achieved to exchange and to share with the Indonesians. So we have had a good webinars with Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education, Research and Technology of Indonesia. So we will try to have such these experiences with our friendly and brotherly country, Indonesia. The second question, is very different programs that we can see how to, improve the tourism and also the mindset of the two countries' people. As I said, there is propagandas, but through these connections, we can try to make it very clear. And so we will try it, inshallah, to have it more works on it. Of course, we have had different televisions that, for example, Press TV is one of the Iranian TV that try to give another pictures, another narrations about Iran, so we can utilize such this television, even though they are going to make some obstacles from other side. I mean, they say overseas. So, but we will try to give a real picture of the Iranian societies, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you, Yosensi.
Baik, karena banyak yang akan bertanya, saya minta untuk satu saja setiap orang memberi komentar atau bertanya. Yang berikutnya adalah Bapak Yulianto Nasruddin. Ada, Bapak?
Kalau tidak ada, Ibu Edrida.
Kalau tidak ada, kesempatan berikutnya itu adalah Pak Jarod Suroso.
Baik, terima kasih Bu Grace. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Belum masih Jarod.
Good evening, Mr. Mohammad Azad. My name's Jarod Suroso. Okay, I try to browsing about your country. That education in Iran is highly centralized and supervised by the Ministry of Education. And higher education is under the supervision of the Ministry of Science and Technology, like in Indonesia. And according to the Wikipedia, that you have several world-class university, maybe. You have the top 5 university in Tehran is University of Medical Science in Tehran. You have also the University of Tehran, Sharif University of Technology. All of them is one of the biggest university in the world, maybe. So my question: how did you prepare your youth? Because according to the data, you have the demography bonus that. It means that the youth that are 60 years old until 60 until 70% of population is under 30 years old. So how can you prepare your youth to be the next leader in Iran? So, like in Indonesia, we have the program of like in IABIE, the the youth that have the scholarship from the government to study abroad in 9 countries, developed countries in the world. So maybe I think that you have the same program like in Indonesia to make the best planning to prepare the future of the country. And the second one, I just mentioned
satu saja.
yes, about our president that the name of the Joko Widodo street. Maybe you can propose to your country to give our collaboration between Indonesia and Iran to make the same thing like in Abu Dhabi in Arab United Emirates. Thank you very much.
Silakan Pak Dubes.
I start from the last part.
Okay.
Because we are going to this year we are celebrating the 70th anniversary of diplomatic relation between Iran and Indonesia, and we are discussing to change the name of the street in the 2 capitals, and we are following the points and the procedures, and we were suggesting to have, for example, in Malaysia, we have Jalan Isfahan, we have Jalan Kuala Lumpur in Isfahan. So we can have the same between Iran and Indonesia. We are in the process, and why not? It can be one of the considerations, as you were mentioning. The second point is, as I tried to explain previously, by the question was raised by Grace. The point is that when Iran is a dry country, we try to manage the question of water. When it is the question of scientific development, based on our programs, we have to be a developed country after developed countries. So the question of use is very, very important. For this reason, besides governmental universities, we have had Islamic Azad universities. They are at the seimbang dengan the governmental one. So besides that, also we have private one, and this kind of networking. We can see a lot of students graduated in different levels. Nowadays, a lot of PhDs. And the point is that through these networks, we will try to have a digital generation, or millennial, as you said. Because of that, we have tried a lot, even though we are in a hard situation. But Alhamdulillah, you can see the evidences of such these efforts, as I said, in the nanotechnology, biotechnology, stem cells, in nuclear, in military one. We are launching parabola to space, and we have done it, and we are using it as to have our science developments, innovations, such as this parabola, cover this one. We'll try and inshallah to see what will happen. Thank you.
Baik, selanjutnya akan ada komentar dari Bapak Edwin Aldrian.
Okay, thank you very much, Excellency. I myself maybe have a Iranian heritage according to my mother, so I come from Sumatra. I'm also very interested in your country. I visited Tehran a couple years back in only 2 days, but I'm very impressed. So the first impression, I will tell you that when I arrived in the airport, I see no military officer. It's very funny because for me, many countries like you know, Jordan, Saudi, and also in the west, in the east, Thailand, Pakistan, Nepal, and India, and Bangladesh, especially a lot of military officer in the airport. So I feel very safe. I don't know. I feel very safe. And then I go out from the airport and I see a street very smooth. The street very smooth. The car over there is many French car. Actually, there are many French car, and then the rest is Iranian made car. So I'm very impressed with your country during the first visit, and I see no McDonald's, no Pizza Hut, nothing about U.S. Restaurant. I see, and then you cannot use American Express, you cannot use Visa and Mastercard and so on like that. This is very independent system, very independent banking system. So I see this is totally different country. And as a foreigner in the several new country like China, Russia, and also Iran, I feel that this is very indoctrinated country maybe. But I see our indoctrinated country is only for the civil society. So I see again, this is in your country, it is totally different system, different because I have a lot of friends in Iran. I see some friend right now in my WhatsApp. There are some Iranian in Tehran. So I work a lot with your country. I also very interested in your high technology because I know that your military weapon system is very independent. And then the health system in your country is comparable like the other country which is isolated from United States. For example, like Cuba and then some other country. I see that your country has a strong relationship in some other country, but not very very well in the community. So for example, you have some people with interest in Iran, in Lebanon, maybe something like that. It is totally different kind of system. So you want to attach to many people, but not so much in the political system, and then not so much in the. But you have influence. Your country have influence everywhere. I thought not only for Iranian, but politically you have close relationship like with Venezuela and Colombia, for example. This is very interesting for me. And also the society, which is much very different, like the one you talk media in Indonesia talking about, because you are a Shia country. But what I found there in Iran is totally different. Your countrymen, your people, very nice, very welcome foreigner and something like that. So what my question is, you can make a collaboration with Indonesia with high tech system. I believe that this is a way forward because you have a good weaponry system, rocket system, missile system, and so on like that. And also because of the embargo by United States and so on like that, it's very difficult. Like I when I first get invitation to Tehran, I only think that there will be a stamp of Iranian stamp in my passport for visa from Iran. But after I leave the country, I say, oh, what the hell? I don't care about that because I want to visit Iran one more time and one more time again. Thank you very much, His Excellency Ambassador.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Edwin was summarized my interview and mentioning the main pillars. And yes, Mr. Edwin, you know, as I said, you know, civil airport is civil airport, military one is military, and you know, different delegations when coming to Iran, even though it's official one, you know, they were surprised. They saw something different. I don't want to say that our country is the best. No, we have also difficulties. But the point is that the picture that I really broadcasting is completely different. And for this reason, I said that, you must go directly to our society and see the things directly, closely. The point is that even though, as I said, we have every years we have election. We have different people, different parties, they give vote, and then they have different president with different, ideas and plan. So it looks like that we are going to have our Masyarakat Mandiri, kind of independent society, and so maybe it is very, heavy for others to tolerate that. But the point is that, as you were mentioning, in different dimensions of cooperation between Iran and Indonesia, we are ready. And during our different negotiations, we have mentioned about that. And we do hope to have it, in near future through the exchange of delegations. But, because of COVID, it's very difficult of such this exchange of delegation. By the way, we are trying to have it in a virtual one, and the point is to come to the conclusion, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next one will be Edrida Pulungan.
Thank you very much, Madam Grace, for the chance. The Excellency, Dr. Azad, I'm very happy to see you as a very inspiring ambassador for us. We ever visited your residence and celebrating the Iran. Congratulations for Iran and Indonesia for 70 years diplomatics. And last 11 October, we celebrating Hafez as the biggest poet from Persia and a symbol of the very big culture from Iran. So my one question only, how do you think about promoting the culture from Iran, especially Hafez, because many of community of poets in Indonesia very interesting about Hafez, as we have been celebrated in 11 October. And I also include to writing about the Hafez as a kind of the collaborations of the culture project of literacy. Do you think it could be make some of the community to promoting Hafez? And I'm very interested if we have a collaboration in culture project and culture program. And I would like to have also join with Miss Grace, because she also very inspiring in increasing the diplomatic relationship between Indonesia and Iran. And my name is Edrida Pulungan. I work in the parliaments, and very happy if the ambassador can promoting or can initiating for the meeting up for the poet, in especially promoting Indonesia and Iran relationship. Thank you very much.
So yeah, thanks. Very good question, and very poetic one. As you say, Sha'ir is one of the words, is Persian words. And Madam Edrida was mentioning about Hafiz, and she's active on it. And I can, in retrospect, I can come back to the history of relation between Iran and Indonesia. It was, if I'm not wrong, the 15th century, that because of the civilizational centers in Ayutthaya in Thailand, Malacca in Malaysia, and Aceh, Banda Aceh in Sumatra. One of the greatest figure of Indonesia who knows Persian language was Hamza Fansuri. Because of such these interactions between these three civilizational centers. And, he knows Persian language. He has written, if I'm not wrong, Bustanul Arafin, Taj al-Salatin, two books, very important one, that it was written by Mr. Hamza Fansuri. And, because of his master in Persian language, in his books, a lot of Persian words, he has used. And out of that, Hafez, Sadi, and Khayyam, these three poems, the poets, they were very famous, and because of this background and familiarity, it has translated by different figures in Indonesia. I remember Mr. Abdul Hadi WM is one of your poets that is famous, and he has worked on it, and he has made good shair, and so surely that's the point, that is one of the commonalities that I mentioned, that we must work hard on it, and it can be in a people-to-people contact, and we will try, inshallah, to have it. And as I saw, it was our cultural counselor at that webinar explaining about Hafez, and it was initiated by our cultural counselor. So surely we will accept, and if there is another program, please let us know. And
Yes.
I do not know that Madam Edrida has made any shair or poems,
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
Do you have any poems that you made it by yourself?
Yes, I have, Ambassador. I have many about poet about Hafez, because I have been visit Siraj
Oh,
around November 2019, but I don't have the time for see the some of Hafez, but hopefully I can going there and can make some of the poet more, and maybe with you also, Ambassador.
okay.
Thank you. Jazakumullah, Ambassador.
Oke, berikutnya adalah dari Bapak Fahrizi, masih bergabung, Pak Fahrizi.
Ya,
Hello.
Assalamualaikum,
Waalaikumsalam.
Mr. Ambassador. My name Farizi. From the name, my name is inspired from Salman Al Farisi. Okay, I visited Iran twice, 2010 and 2015. The first one just for tourists and ziarah, and the second one for business and also occasion for ziarah as well. There are things impressive that it happens to me when the second one, the first day arrived in Tehran. I had a meeting with high-rank people in the energy in government. Then the good thing that I saw, a couple days after the meeting, I went to Mashhad, to Haram Imam Reza, and it was impressive that I met the guy again that I had the meeting in Tehran, and this man that I had the meeting in the high rank, he was doing something that very impressive as a zookeeper in the Makam Imam Reza. So okay, this is one thing that that I'm going to ask the question about the people culture in Iran, about the tolerance. The second thing happens in Isfahan. In Isfahan, I visited the youth area, which is in Armenia, I believe, in Isfahan. I saw some youths walking around, and I visited some cult area like church, synagogue, and the temple for Zoroaster as well. I saw a couple of different religions over there, but the situation is like between people with different religion in Isfahan. They are very tolerant. There is never been a problem over there. So how you, I don't know what's going on in Iran, how you build this culture. You guys so tolerant each other, and when you have the respect for like the first situation that I visited in Haram Imam Reza, the higher rank, and suddenly he want to be doing something like a zookeeper in the mosque. So I don't know. Can you tell this what's going on about the culture in Iran? Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you. Very good points, you know, that you have got it through your visit in Iran. I think the point is, you know, such as this tolerance, and as you were mentioning, shopkeeper. One of our minister, you know, is also, what do we call it? Is giving service or shopkeeper or gardening of this shrine. You know, it's a kind of respect for the Imam Reza, which is the 8th Imam of Iran, main Shia belief. And there is a kind of, what do we call it? For example, you have some of Makam here, Malik Ibrahim. You know, the people who are going there and they have some nazar or what some requests, you know, the kind of that one. It shows that there is a kind of spiritual relations between that people with, in your case, Malik Ibrahim, Akam, and Imam Reza in Iran. The point is there is a kind of, what we call it, a kind of spiritual relations between these two. And it's based on our belief. If we go for the tolerance that you were mentioning, it refers to the long history of you know, Iran with different waves of changes. But, you know, when Mughal came to Iran, Mongolian, I mean, Genghis Khan, you know, and his descendants came to Iran, you know, they were really changed to the Iranian culture and civilization. So it shows that because of this experience and the history, you know, they have managed to absorb the different cultures and to have, you know, their identity. I think that's the point that I can raise in your questions. And, you know, Cyrus the Great is mentioning in the Old Testament 2 times, you know, he was survived the Yahudi people in Iran. It's very interesting to know that, you know. And the first human rights, you know, slender, if you see, is by them. It's mentioning that in the Iranian Empire, different culture are there, but we must respect them. So such a this culture, even though Iran has become small and small, and now is the Islamic Republic of Iran, such a this background of history is the same. You know, in Tehran, you were mentioning about Isfahan with different, you know, churches, mosques, and you can come to Tehran and see in the center of Tehran, there is one crossroad. In one of them is Kennest, in one of them is church, in another side of the crossroad is mosque, and also another one, Zoroastrian. You know, 4 religions are in one crossroad in Tehran now, in Tehran city. So that's the point that I wanted to respond. I hope you can accept. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Ambassador.
Ya, pertanyaan terakhir itu adalah dari Bapak MT Ali, menanyakan kepada Mr. Ambassador, he is interested to join the Arbain Walk. Do you have any information on that?
For Arba'in walk, you know, this time we cannot go there because it was not allowed by the Iraqi government because of the COVID-19, and so it was just handling by, I mean, doing that Arba'in by their people, and we followed the rules and regulation by the Iraqi government. And usually it's the question of the story of the very tragic murder of Imam Hussein, you know, the third Imam in our belief. And, you know, if there is any permission from the government, we'll go there.
Okay. Mr. Ambassador, there will be two more questions from me that I usually ask my my guests. Do you have daily routines that you do to be the best version of yourself?
Very hard questions. But when, as you say, kalau ada kemauan pasti ada jalan ya. Jadi
Right.
di atasi. There is a good expression in English. They say sound mind, sound body. It means that, you know, you have to pay attention to the two dimensions of human being. I mean, you know, as you say, to the body, physical body, and to the spirit.
Yeah.
So, of course, for sports, we have a regular program, and also I invited my colleagues that surely they have the facilities, they have to have their sport every day. So I will try to have it, and I remember I remember in my first mission that, you know, there was very famous preachers. One of the famous preacher was Mohammad, Zainuddin MZ. Saya fikir ia sudah meninggal dunia ya.
Yeah.
Ya, almarhum Zainuddin MZ. Di dalam satu ceramahnya yang mengatakan ya kami harus memberi doa kepada Allah SWT bahwa Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah. Dia bercanda dan mengatakan ya di dunia ini diberi ibu hasanah dan di sono ibu hasanah juga.
Okay.
So I don't forget it, that expression, you know, that sermons, and so for this reason we have to pay attention to the physical body for sports, and of course for the spiritual one, that in Indonesia we listen to 5 times of azan.
Yeah.
That when there is azan, it's recommended to do it your salat at sharp at that time.
Okay. Okay. Thank you to share about your tips to be the best version of yourself. And now, do you have any favorite books, Excellency, that you can share to us?
I can share my 2 books, but unfortunately it's in Persian. But, you know, when I see Indonesia as a first country as a majority Muslim in the world, and India is the second.
Yeah.
So, and when I consider the recently a Pew evaluation about Indonesia, that how many % of people believe on religion.
Yeah.
So it was mentioning more than 94%. That Indonesian people are religion people and pay attention to their spiritual dimensions. And so I tried to understand what does it mean, Islam, in Indonesia. So when I met Papa Muhammad Nasir, head of Muhammadiyah, he was giving me a book by the name of Progressive Islam. It was written by him about the sejarah Muhammadiyah dan juga pandangannya mengenai Islam apa ya di Muhammadiyah. And after then, I got a book from Sir Nasruddin Omar from NU Islam Nusantara, your Friday prayer Imam in the Masjid. I tried to find out the meaning of the Islam in Indonesia. And before that, I read the article by Kiai Haji Ma'ruf Amin, your respected Vice President. It was written an article by the name of Islam Basatia.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting to know that the topics, Muslim Islamic organizations with huge followers and long history, and also Bapa Kiai Ma'ruf. So I understood that, Islam Wasatiyah is a combination of Islam Nusantara and Islam Progressive. It's very comprehensive one that is going to have tolerate, moderate, and pay attention to the points of how to tackle radicalism and, radicalism.
Okay.
So it can be covered such at this point. So it's very interesting to understand Islam in Indonesia.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, for your time. Thank you for sharing about yourself and also sharing about your country. It seems that it is interesting to know about Iran nowadays. And do you have any closing statement? Please.
Closing statement. So I am very happy to have this virtual meeting. Very good questions raised by the audience, and I hope, this year, 7th years anniversary of relation will finish, but we hope for the next 70 years, we will defeat the COVID-19 virus, coronavirus, and we can meet each other face to face, and inshallah, to have peace, security, and prosperity in future, inshallah, especially Iran and Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you. And I give the floor to Bapak Oni Bintoro to give the closing remarks.
Thank you, Ibu Grace Sabandar. Excellency, Dr. Azad, Iran Ambassador. Thank you. I just want to make some summary on what I heard, that what we can build on. Bu Grace Sabandar asked you some question on and bring us into geography tour to what happened in Iran. The demographic structures, the cultural rich history, and what's that, the export of Iran. And then later, our IABIE friends bring us into more serious tour. Pak Irwan asked about embargo lifting. Pak Bagus asked about, give a discussion on oil cooperation, and Pak Bagus was in FINA. Wow. And then Professor Jarod give you a suggestion that Iran maybe, and I think you mentioned about the consideration to give Indonesian-Iran relationship by giving a street name of like what happened in United Arab Emirates, Joko Widodo name, and if that has happened, it will be increase the type of collaboration. I know you are the foreign policy expert. And then Pak Edwin, this is my good friend. Pak Edwin have visited your country. I think it's not many people in the embargo time can visit your country, but Pak Edwin visited your country, and his impression for 2 days, I think it's very impressive because Pa Edwin mentioned your people there is friendly. There is no kind of security issue. Then that's interesting. And later, the question is about literary figure. Ibu Eldrida asks you about a sastrawan, but you reply with Hamzah Fansuri. That's great literary figures that I learned in senior high school or maybe junior high. And then you mentioned about the Abdul Hadi WM. Wow. Malik Ibrahim. That's all great literary figures. Pak Farizi asks about the name of Salman Al-Farizi. The reason I explained that, but basically you have very good knowledge in Indonesia. You mentioned about Zainuddin MZ, the Muhammadiyah, Nasaruddin Umar. Not many foreign diplomat can understand or explain what happened in Indonesia from your point of view. Actually, I have a question on your really interest because I look into the Google, your PhD was in American Studies. And every American Studies know the name of Alexis de Tocqueville. It's a French scholar that visited the United States and came back and give his keen observation on what happened in America. So actually, in Indonesia needs kind of Alexis de Tocqueville. And the right person is His Excellency Dr. Mohammad Azad. So I think this is at the end of my suggestion on building the next. Because you mentioned about the 70 years relationship between the country. And of course, the country needs some outsider view with a good insight. And Excellency with more than 10 years in Indonesia, and I think you speak Indonesian fluently and understand Indonesian culture fluently. If you really want to launch your book of your knowledge or your critic about Indonesia, I think IABIE and Ibu Grace Sabandar like to host your next tour on Indonesia from your point of view. Basically, what I want to say, you have a great Indonesian expert, and I hope you will have more pleasant stay in Indonesia and have good collaboration, increasing the 70 years Indonesian and Iran relationship. As behalf of IABIE, will thank you very much for you coming to our discussion, and Grace Sabandar facilitate this type of discussion, and have nice holiday there. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Pak Oni. Semangat sekali Pak Oni menutup dengan summary yang cukup padat, yang cukup menggambarkan pembahasan kita pada malam hari ini. Dan selanjutnya, Mr. Ambassador, this is kebiasaan baik dari IABIE adalah menutup ini semua dengan rangkaian doa, dan doa penutup akan dibawakan atau dipimpin oleh Bapak Salim Mustafa.
Terima kasih, thank you very much Ibu Grace Sabandar. Sekarang saya jadi selalu mengucapkan Sabandar nih. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In honor of the Honorable Iran Ambassador, His Excellency Mohammad Azad, please allow me to read prayers in English. First of all, let us send Surat Al-Fatihah to the father of national technology innovation, Professor Dr. B.J. Habibie and Ibu Ainun Habibie, and to our parents who have passed away, because without the struggle of our parents, we would not be able to be where we are today. Ila hadratin Nabiyil Mustafa Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wa khususan Profesor Dr. B.J. Habibie and Ibu Ain Habibie, wa khususan aba'ana wa ammahatana wa ajdadana. Al-Fatihah. Let us together raise our hands to pray to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the creator of all creatures, with a sincere heart. O Allah merciful, we ask to get rid of the disasters that befell us, including the COVID-19, which we Indonesian and Iranian people are currently facing. Get rid of the health, economic, and human impacts on this disaster. O Allah, there is no convenience except what you make easy, and you make sadness difficulty if you want it will be easy. O Allah, all forgiving, forgive our mistakes, give help to our leaders and this nation. Give us strength, ability, and strong determination to remain intact in one unity, in peace, peace in togetherness to build our nation. O Allah, our Lord, do not punish us if we forget or we are guilty. Do not burden us with heavy burdens as you carried on those before us. Do not bear to us what we cannot bear. Please forgive us and have mercy on us. You are our helper, so help us from the people who have turned away from you. O Allah, give us and all our leaders wisdom in building our nation. Give us and our leaders the policies in carrying out the building of our nation. O Allah, O God the most just, give strength to us and our leaders in Indonesia and Iran to consistently defend justice in our country. Give us the strength to commit to fighting for justice in our country, Indonesia, in Iran. O Allah, please always strengthen the relationship between Indonesia and Iran. Hopefully, the relationship between the two countries can provide benefits and blessing to the world. O Allah, please grant our prayers. Ya mujibas sa'ilin. Allahumma inna nas'aluka salamatan fid din wa afiyatan fil jasad wa ziyadatan fil ilm wa barakatan fil rizq wa taubatan qabla al maut wa rahmatan indal maut wa maghfiratan ba'dal maut. Allahumma hawwin alaina fi sakaratil maut wan najata minan nar wal afwa indal hisab. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Terima kasih atas perhatian Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman yang sudah bergabung dengan kami dalam acara Ambassador's Corner bersama Duta Besar Iran, His Excellency Mohammad Azad, yang bergabung langsung dari Tehran, Iran. Terima kasih Bapak Duta Besar, terima kasih untuk perhatian semuanya. Sampai ketemu lagi di acara Ambassador's Corner berikutnya dengan Duta Besar yang lain. Terima kasih, selamat malam.
Selamat malam, terima kasih.
Grace Badar.
Terima kasih Pak.
Terima kasih Bu Grace dari Indra.
Live.
Thank you.
Tapi
Terima
Zoom-nya
kasih
jangan
Pak
dimatiin.
Dubes. Terima kasih Pak Ubin.
Mantap, Pak Oni.
Siap.
Mantap, mantap.
Terima kasih Pak Dubes.
Pak
Luar
Dubes,
biasa Pak Oni, luar biasa.
Ya, Pak Dubes. Pak Dubes, can you speak in Indonesia, please, with us, if you have time more?
Pak Dubes masih ada nggak?
Masih ada.
Coba, dia bagus bahasa Indonesia ya pasti.
Sudah nggak ada.
Udah left.
Oh, udah
Udah left.
Saya pikir kalau bisa pakai bahasa Indonesia aja tadi ya, Pak Barman ya.
Tapi bagus ya,
Ya,
luar biasa ya.
fasih bahasa Indonesianya.
Masif ya, cerdas.
Ini yang
ya.
tuh ratusan nih.
Iya.
Lumayan.
Dan
Makin bagus.
apa,
di semua
cepat.
nih.
Bicaranya
Banyak
bisa
bagus.
cepat.
Prof Oni luar biasa, Prof Oni.
Orang menyimak terus dari awal dia, nyimak terus
Iya.
dia.
Semua
Tukang
dicatat.
provokator, Mas Oni nomor 1.
Ya.
Berat itu berat.
Karena itu kan tugas dari Pak Turbarman, saya ditugasin Pak Jarod.
Iya, mantap lah.
Tadi
komentar tadi ya.
Banyak belajar hari ini.
Pak Sekjen mau memberi kata sambutan sudah disalib Pak Oni.
Wah, iya kemana Pak Sekjen?
Bu Grace yang nyuruh saya.
Oh.
Jadi Pak Sekjennya sudah bicara tapi mute.
Oh gitu. Enggak. Jadi acaranya itu memang harusnya habis Pak Ardi, saya harusnya. Tapi
Iya, betul.
jadi memang ada di jadwal saya. Ketika Bu Grace tahu-tahu nyuruh saya,
gitu.
Saya ngomong. Waktu begitu Pak Grace nyuruh saya ngomong. Tapi beda sebenarnya. Yang saya lakukan itu namanya kata pengantar. Jadi memang ada di jadwal.
Oke.
Pak. Ya emang gitu kan ada di jadwal kita biasa. Tapi
iya.
Itu
tapi bagus kok.
Pak Ardinya terus nggak ngomong, kali nggak ngerti kan, habis itu dia disuruh ngomong.
Iya.
Cuman ini ada satu introspeksinya, itu harus di mute, itu ada sering suara-suara masuk itu mengganggu itu.
Iya.
Nah itu tergantung kalau kita
ada hostnya.
Iya. Ya, kalau dubes lagi bicara ada suara gitu kan nggak sopan tadi.
Memang.
Iya, bisa ngecek terus sebenarnya itu suara moodnya itu.
Harus banyak lah.
Ada orangnya Bu Edrida, nggak sengaja kali Bu ya. Hubungan lagi ngobrol.
Iya, lupa.
Nggak sadar ya, nggak di mood ya.
Tapi lumayan lah. Dia tadi Pak Dubesnya kan, ini belum dimatiin ini live-nya. Siapa yang dimatiin dulu? Ini kalau nggak masih.
Oh iya.
Hostnya ya ini tinggal Ibu Edrida Pulungan ini. Yang host yang lain udah nggak ada.
Oh iya?
Iya.
Itu live-nya mesti dimati ya.
Iya, ya hanya bisa
itu
ini Ibu Edrida.
Oh.
Emang ini pakai Zoom-nya siapa ini? Bukan Zoom-nya IABIE.
Pakai Zoom-nya IABIE, tapi hostnya tinggal dia sendiri.
Oh gitu.
Nggak terekam semua ini.
Oh iya. Iya, nggak bisa diskusi, kita nggak enak.
Iya.
Iya. Mau diskusi, mau nggak enak ini.
Bukannya Pak Bimo jadi host biasanya?
Pak Bimo ya.
Pak Bimo udah nggak ada.
Mau ngobrol kedatangan Perdana Menteri Jepang
dulu ya.
Nggak enak ini. Mas Barman.
Live dulu ya.
Mas Barman.
Ya. Yes.
Itu Perdana Menteri Jepang datang juga nawarin alutista juga itu.
Iya itu. Waduh, lagi rame tuh. Gede juga tuh.
Ambil lah. Ambil aja.
Gede tuh bantuannya nih.
Iya, ambil aja lah.
Iya. Ya karena dia melihat itu Pak Prabowo lagi belanja kan.
Iya, kayaknya ya.
Tapi pindah dapat proyek banyak dari Kemenhan kan?
Oh iya,
tapi
kerjasama.
Alim,
ya.
Kita nggak dapat akses ke Jepang. Biasanya saya pernah berapa kali wawancarain dubes Jepang, sekarang kayaknya nggak pernah.
Ya ini karena COVID dibatasi. Aku udah mau ini tanya-tanya.
Karena COVID.
Iya, sangat dibatasi.
Dari Teheran bukan di Indonesia ya, dia pulang kampung selama COVID ya.
Iya, dia di Teheran dia.
Kayaknya dia pulang kampung ya.
Kayaknya semua rata-rata diplomat itu balik ke negaranya rata-rata. Takut bisa balik daripada balik lebih baik pulang kampung semua.
Aku pikir
Duta Besar Belanda tapi di sini kan.
Di Menteng dia tadi.
Iya, Duta Besar Jepang di Jakarta.
Ya ada Pak Perdana Menteri, jelas lah. Tapi kemarin ya, ada note yang Amerika disuruh pulang semua rata-rata kalau nggak esensial banget.
Oh ya.
Iya. Makin parah ya. Bro, live dulu ya. Live
Buat
dulu ya.
sekarang sih
Sip ya.
Oke.
Oke.
Nafon.
Thank you semuanya.
Oke.
Oke, see you next.
See you semuanya, Mas
Oke.
Arman, Mas
Oke.
Mas Oni.
Keluarga